I had a splendid voice. In fact, I'd sing in opera if they'd give me my choice. I wrote to Oscar Hammerstein that I would be his star. He said, come down and sing for me, and I'll see how good you are. And I don't suppose I'll do it again for months and months and months. No, I don't suppose I'll do it again for months and months and months. I sang the wise old owl, and he left the room at once. So I don't suppose I'll do it again for months and months and months.
Welcome back to the Recluse's Cookbook. This time joining me on the podcast is theatre and filmmaker Luke Corcoran. Luke is based in Waterford and he is currently helming a number of projects in the city. He is the founder of a new theatre company which specialises in training actors in the Meisner technique and producing new plays in the form of pub theatre. In this interview, Luke talks about his beginnings as an artist in theatre and film. He discusses the compatibility of his martial arts background and how its disciplines and principles helped him when embarking on his new path in the arts. We also discuss acting styles and pub theatre and its benefits to the community at large. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I give you Luke Corcoran. So, Luke, can you tell us who you are and what it is that you're best known for to the public?
God damn, the public. I'm Luke Corcoran. I'm a writer, director, actor, acting coach, artist in the community, producer, playwright, screenwriter, anything you have to do in order to make a living of being a creative, full-time creative. What would people know me for the most? I think it's probably the acting school. I have an acting school here in Waterford for the last 2.5 years. We're going to rebrand. We're going to be, this might be the first time it's announced publicly, Vinny, but
Right.
we're going to be the new Playhouse. That's our name.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm getting it branded at the minute. Steve O'Connell is a local artist. He's branding that up, and it's the Meisner technique is what I specialize in.
Excellent.
People might know me for pub theatre in Waterford. This is where actors and guest actors from like Dublin or people I've worked with before. I write the plays, I direct them, and we go straight to an audience. So there's no middleman or a lot of rehearsal time and stuff like that, or applying for grants. We're just like, here's our audience, here's what we can do, let's go. The short plays are all like comedies, mostly, sometimes horror, very psychological, very Lacanian, I want to say, without blowing a whistle up my own arse, but psychological wise, and very real. That's what I love about the Miser technique. I'm also a filmmaker. I've made 2 feature films, Poppy Loftus and Tuesday Traders. That was Tuesday Traders was an adaptation of a local writer's book. Down here, Sean Kelly, and plenty of short films, plenty of theater, plenty of pubs. Just I don't know. People probably just know me as a full-time creative and go, "Oh wow, this guy actually loves this stuff and keeps doing it." That's probably what they know.
So, how did you get all into this, Luke? What's the background that brought you to this particular point?
So most of my life I was trained in martial arts. I was like Irish judo champion along with my brothers for many years in a row. Kieran Foley was my coach and my dad, Eddie Corcoran, and then I went into mixed martial arts. And at the amateur level, I had a club I was running. And then I did one acting class. I pretended to be a tree and was like, holy shit, this is the best fun I've had in a long time. So I decided to pack everything in martial arts wise and take that kind of discipline and dedication that I had for martial arts into acting to learn about it. Fell in love with it, got the lead in an indie feature film. I was like, this is amazing. It was Follow the Dead. It's on Amazon. That was my first one, just finished acting training, fresh out the gate. And then I was talking to the director saying, oh, this is great. I'm going to be the next Colin Farrell. Like, woo, what's up? When is this out? And he's like, man, I ran out of money. Like, this is going to take years to finish. I was like, oh. So I was like, fuck. So then I started writing and saying, well, I'll just cast myself in a play and put it on in the International Bar. And there was a troupe at the time called The Collective that took me in under their umbrella, and it was the first time my writing and acting was in front of an audience in theater, and I was like, this is awesome. And then I just fell in love with writing. My first, then it was screenwriting, which I wanted to get into a lot. Brendan Grace, actually, if you remember, Brendan, God rest him,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
he he read one of my plays and he was like, I want to meet this guy. And I met him for a weekend down in Killarney with a production team called OC Productions. I'm name dropping left, right, and center, but it's like it's this mad journey I've been on, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. And there's a lot. You're never an island, you know. No man is an island. So I met Brandon over 2 days, and he had this idea in his head for a film that he had for 30 years. And I was sat there with a big huge notebook because I love having big huge notebooks and writing down all the ideas and talking to him back and forth about it. It was called The Spirit of Patrick. It was about this guy who's I don't want to spoil it, but anyway, t 2 days after he, or I think the week of, where he approved the script and said, right, let's bring this to production, he passed away.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was like, oh man. Obviously, it's a terrible loss, and Brendan's work ethic really inspired me. Because yeah, he worked really hard. He was
yeah.
touring a lot, and he had an incredible life. I met his wife, beautiful, lovely woman, and yeah, but that was like my first feature film script where it was a professional gig, and I was like, okay, I can do this, you know?
Yeah. So what interests me here is you underwent a real sharp learning curve here, and what interests me is where you went from at the start of that to where you ended up at. What sort of skills did you build or hone during that actual process? Because it's quite, having gone through the whole script development thing myself, it's quite steep.
Mhm.
Can you take us through what it was like for you?
Yeah, it was a lot of. Your question is really good, but actually, I think I've got a better question
Yeah, yeah.
or an
Okay, that's the
answer. I
first.
think, well, rather than just talk about script writing, because I think everything is principles. And, in martial arts, it would be there's a lot of principles to adhere to, like leverage and what works, what doesn't work, how you if something doesn't work, you discard it. Like you never try out a new technique on the day of the fight if you haven't practiced it thousands of times beforehand. That kind of
Yeah, of course.
those kind of principles that can be applied across disciplines. So not just screenwriting. Like for me, the biggest change was going from something that's very where you need to be physically and mentally strong, and then into acting where you need to be vulnerable, as well as
Mm,
having a thick skin. You need to be believable first of all. Because when it comes to the screenwriting, I really had to learn and I learned a lot from theater. Writing theater, putting it on in front of an audience really improves your dialogue because you're like you fucking know what works. And the audience might be real friendly, but you fucking know if it's not landing. And that's really a steep learning curve, but it's the best way to go about it. So the biggest thing for me was that what kind of skills did I learn from going from the physically, mentally strong part to the emotional realm, which is what I'm obsessed with at the minute. Is, as an actor, you need to have full access to what Meisner would call your instrument. You are the instrument. And some people say that actors are storytellers, but they're not. They're story livers. The story's already told. It's already written. And people aren't really interested in the writing,
mhm.
specifically, especially for screen. Um, they're interested in the living of the story, in the imaginary circumstances, being as long as they're truthful. Um, So when it comes to screenwriting, that has its own visual language. So that's the steep learning curve as well. And then the pace of now I'll go back and answer your question.
Okay, yeah.
The steep learning curve is like, okay, better screenwriters than me exist, learn from them. This is what I was doing as I was developing the script, talking to screenwriters, reading all the books, writing like little mini stories on the side, looking at the shape of a page as well. So one of the best books I read on screenwriting, it's very funny as well. It's how to make €1 million or $1 million on screenwriting or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but it was these two lads that in Hollywood and they just said everything it's a really honest book. One of the lessons in it is, if you have a big massive block of text on your page and people flick through it, it's called the I don't know what it's called, it's a flick through test or something. And if they see there's too much blocks of text,
Yeah,
it's going in the bin. It's a real economy of language,
yeah.
screenwriting where there has to be like really sharp, really tight. So that's what I do when I when I finish the script, I do that test myself to see. And I'm like, oh, the shape could actually be shorter. And it's just looking at the shape. And
That's really interesting.
yeah, but how I learned, I was terrified of writing when I started out. Especially playwriting, because we're known in Ireland for having the best playwrights in the world. Some might argue, like, Behan and Yeats, he wrote a play, didn't he? He wrote a few.
He wrote a
Anyway,
film, yeah.
so what I did was I went into Hodges Figgis on Bagastry and I went to the drama section and I looked at the shape of the plays. And I was like, okay, big monologue, couple of lines here or there, big monologue. Because learning in acting,
Clever.
I was looking at scripts and I'm like, okay, and which ones are good or not, or which ones actually give actors scope to
Yeah, yeah.
to move. So yeah, that's how I wrote. I was like, okay, I just look at the shape of them and do a shape like that.
When you say that, that's funny you say that because something's come into my mind that about the shape of a script, and I'm a big fan of Taylor Sheridan, the
Mm.
the the screenwriter and the TV writer, Sicario. He said the exact same thing, or someone gave him that piece of advice when he started writing that
Oh wow.
the more it should be virtually a white page you're looking at. There should be
Yeah.
very little black on it. So it's so interesting to hear that idea being put across.
Yeah, and Taylor Sheridan was an actor first. He actually was
That's
in Sons of Anarchy.
That's right, he was, wasn't he? He was, and Veronica Mars and a couple of other things. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah. It's amazing too. So as an actor, you kind of, I always think that we sometimes don't give actors enough credit because they do have to kind of take on different aspects, although that they don't get paid for all of them. Like so, the actor will
Mhm.
have to also be somewhat of a writer and also be a
Yeah.
director to understand where
Yeah.
everyone's coming from, especially the best ones. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. I mean, this the skills you learn as from being an actor is hugely beneficial. And definitely they have to be a certain kind of writer because they have to not act from an idea in their head or how they think they're going to look. They have to literally feel it from the inside out and they have to live it. Um, but there is an aspect of the acting training which some actors find really boring is the script analysis, but it's really important. You should be able to read a line of dialogue and then free associate off it and be inspired a lot by and allow your thoughts to move and allow your thoughts to affect your body and really get into what's underneath the words because like the words are just the words. This is kind of a principle I have. The words will always mean what they mean. Um, so the actor's job is to not really generate, but just access what's already going on in them anyway, and allow it to move through them without putting a kind of judgment on it or a I'd say judgment actually, yeah, because it's coming from the head. They've really got to access their gut, go with their gut. Sorry, I'm rambling a bit now, but like just bringing it back to words, like the actors live. So again, I there's two interests in my life that I'm like hyper focused on will be the Meisner technique, and Jacques Lacan, who went back into Freud. And yeah, so both of them would say that there's a gap in what we say and how we say it. And this gap is actually huge. And it really is Meisner when it's like, so Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver, or was it Al Pacino? Robert De Niro. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Are you
Yeah.
talking to me? Said many different ways has a different kind of meaning. It's not just an emphasis on one of them or the other one. That's not a good example. A good example would be if I ask you, how you doing, Vinny, and you say I'm fine. The words I'm fine mean I'm fine, but like there, it's never I'm fine, is it?
Hmm.
It could
Yeah.
also be like it could be fuck you would be the
Yeah. Yeah.
subtext would be the subtext underneath it.
Hmm.
So it's to be able to play with lines of dialogue like that. But good writing will always have a wave to them that makes sense. Bad writing will have a clangor of a line come out of nowhere, and you're like, where the fuck did that come from? Even if you're living it as an actor, going, what circumstances would make me say that fucking line? Like,
Yeah.
it's not very present. Um, that's what I love about playwriting is you really have to feel it at every single line, every single moment, every gesture. You're kind of in it,
Hmm.
and it's very meticulous in that way. But it's a beautiful thing.
With regards, say, before you took up life as an actor and a writer and a playwright, were you one for going to the theater and the cinema a lot, or was it like I know you're into your martial arts, but were you a big fan of it?
No. Well, I love films. I was like, wow, I watch a lot of films. I realized that I was like, shit, I actually do watch a lot of films. I watch series. I watch, a lot of them.
Mm.
And I really got into them. I think I saw Love Hate, and I was with my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, I could do that. She's like, no, you fucking couldn't. I was like, oh yeah. Um, so yeah, and the thing is, I went to when I put my mind to something, I can generally do it. And it was the same, like moving from judo into mixed martial arts. I'd watch some mixed martial arts fights and go, oh, I could do that, or into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it was like I could do that. And I could because like very, very strong judo base. And then when I was like, oh, this is gonna be the same thing when I go to theater. When I saw the motherfucker in the hat with Rex Ryan was there.
Oh yes, yeah, I
Um,
remember that
yeah, yeah, in the new
in
theater.
the
That's
new
the
theater.
first.
Yeah.
That's the first play I saw
Oh wow, yeah,
yeah, when I wasn't a kid or anything. Because I wanted to do. I was like, okay, I want to be an actor. All the best actors start off in theater, and I watched that play. With the attitude of I could do that, and then I was like, at the end of it, I was like, how the fuck did they do that? Like,
yeah.
how did they do that? There's no way I could do that. I'd be so stiff up there, and that's where I found the Meisner technique in Dublin and trained in Momentum Studios.
Yeah, the Meisner technique. We hear about this. So you tell us a little bit more about the Meisner technique? Because I hear it bandied about, but I'm not too sure what it is. But I could tell you probably what the method is.
Do you mean the method of Meisner or method acting?
Method acting. Every actor is a method actor now. It's so rare and so fresh to hear someone go, "Well, I practice Meisner." Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about that? Because a
So,
lot of people don't understand either, or maybe not aware of that, like even a movie like The Godfather, which had method actors, it employed a lot of Mesner
yeah.
technique.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that was the golden age of acting back then, I think, in around that time. There's a lot of people, Robert Duvall,
Yes, yeah,
Al Pacino, and Gene Hackman all lived in the same house.
yeah,
So that'll be some sitcom, all right. But they egged each other on as artists, like, and you had like Lee Strasberg teaching as well, who was in The Godfather Part Two, and he was Al Pacino's acting coach. Um, So yeah, the Meisner technique, it's a certain way of acting that doesn't use memory. It uses imagination and the present moment. And it's like, what's happening now? What's happening now? What's happening now? What's happening now? And I fucking love it because it's nearly esoteric to me. It's like when people say present, it really gives you a lot of presence. Or yeah, so it took me a while because I'm like teaching this and I'm going, oh, it's nerve-wracking teaching it as well because you have to hold space for so much that can come up and be able to maintain it. But what it is, it's creativity needs constraints, and you have these constraints, and it's boundaried, and it's like these are the rules, not quite rules, but like these are how you play with this. If you're learning the technique, and that's in the repetition exercise, and it's just to call out and repeat what's going on back and forth, and it's really really hard to explain. It's like trying to teach you how to swim on sand by talking about it. But the thing is, it gives you presence, and presence is bandied about a lot these days. Or to be very present, you need to be very meditative, like be present with yourself or meditate. I can't fucking meditate for 5 minutes. It's not possible.
mm,
But I can certainly get into a flow state when I'm writing, when I'm acting, when I'm whatever. That's presence. That's active presence. It's the same thing, where everything else disappears and you're just in it, and whatever it is allowed to move through you, and you don't resist it and you don't judge it, or you don't, you know, it'll always be only from you.
hmm
even though you're allowing it to move through you. Um, that to me is the Meisner technique.
In terms of the Meisner technique, it's probably used more often than we know, is it?
It's one of the most popular acting techniques, learning wise, I think, in the likes of LA and London, uh, Paris as well, I think. And I don't know any other coach in the country at the minute who's teaching it like I do every Friday
Hmm.
and Tuesday.
Hmm. There
So,
you go. Good
so if you want to
advertisement.
learn Meisner, come down. You're very welcome. We've a great crowd in the new Playhouse.
So, you were in Dublin, but you moved out of Dublin for back home to Waterford, is it? What brought that? Because you're moving like, so I suppose for anyone that's not from Ireland, I suppose the main art scene or to get professional work or whatever you want to say, Dublin is always considered the place to be. Where a lot of people now I've noticed have actually said, well, no, it's not. I
Yeah.
can be an artist elsewhere and make a living and so on and so forth. Can you tell us what happened that you decided to relocate and where you're at this particular point now? You've got your own theatre
Yeah.
school, you're setting up your own theatre.
Yeah. Well, well, I suppose I am. It's basically a pub, but yeah. The dream is to have my own theater full time
Yeah.
and use the shows to pay for the rent. But yeah, getting out of Dublin, was in around lockdown, moved to Kilkenny just to get out of Dublin and to have more than a 5 kilometer radius or whatever the fuck we had back then.
Hmm.
And then I made a film in Waterford and I never left. It was up by the Cumberland Mountains with my friend Dahi, who actually he's off to Bollywood in India and was in like some big films over there. He just loves India. This is a tangent, but it's great when you commit to full-time creative lifestyle, your tribe will arrive, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I couldn't. Like I said, I was born here. Grew up in Dublin. I'm back here now 3 years, almost four, I think, 4, yeah, coming up to 4. And you couldn't pay me enough money to live back in Dublin again. It just doesn't make sense to me. And you
Do you
don't need to either.
do you feel as if creatively you've moved on to a higher plane as well?
Yeah, but I find creatively, all creative work is internal work. So yes, I would think that I have grown in that aspect. It doesn't like Dublin's 2 hours, an hour and a half if there's no traffic and you're in a rush.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, um, yeah, Waterford is a really fantastic creative town. There's tons of artists here,
There was a
and
professional theatre there, wasn't there? Red Kettle,
there's
was it?
yeah, Red Kettle.
Oh, are they still there?
They're still there.
Oh, yeah,
I think they focus on the juniors, and yeah, but they've two big theaters, Theatre Royal, Carter Lane.
yeah.
Um, but again, I just with pub theater, I'm like, if I was to book out Carter Lane, I need to book it for 2027 now. I'm like,
Okay, wow.
Fuck that. I
Yeah.
can't monopolize people's lives. Like and when there is an audience for pub theater, I like making theater for people that don't go to theater. I have
Hmm.
literally written and produced more plays than I've seen. Um, it's
Yeah.
a weird one, but I don't
So,
care.
so take us through this because this is something I'm fascinated with, and I just love this idea. Pub theatre. Will you talk us through the concept and what it's brought to you in your life?
The neighborhood playhouse in New York back then, and David Mamet, and I read a story where David put on a play. It was great. Everyone came to see it. And then he's like, brilliant, I can do no wrong with this pen and paper. And then he put on another play and it was shit. And like nobody came. And he's like, everyone fucking panics. He goes, quick, write another one, write another one. And he wrote another one and got the audience back in. So it's like that real crucible of fire. If you're a writer, well, here's an audience. Like I love that. So
Hmm.
just Henry Downs's, there's a whole other pub on the side of it, and there's a nice little stage area, and I'm like, this is perfect. We had 80 people in there one of the nights for the Halloween special, and so yeah, you come through the acting school, you learn the technique. I write, and yeah, that's the benefit of training with me is that you've got a writer in the room and a director in the room as well as an acting coach. So I get the whole thing. Like I'm trying to impart as much as I can. to encourage all this talent to come through. And yeah, it's becoming quite popular. Just these three short plays, one great night. That's the way I advertise it.
Three short plays, one great night. That's a fantastic
Yeah,
marketing slogan, like.
there you go. And people come in and in between plays, they go, they have a pint, they have a smoke, whatever. They talk about the plays and they come back in, and it's a nice chill night, and it's like that community theater vibe.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, the plays are the plays have got to entertain you. Otherwise, the audience wouldn't come back. You know, they'd be like,
yeah.
"Oh, it looks like you're having fun up there," but rather they're actually talking about it, saying, "Geez, that play really made me think." Like, I can't stop thinking about that play.
Hmm.
Um, or that one, you really affect an audience because it's there, it's right there, it's intimate, it's immediate, it's alive, it's full of life, and yeah, it's beautiful. So that's what it is, and that means I'm not constrained by time. I'm not monopolizing actors' time to put it on the pub. Everyone knows it's going to be on the regular from now on. It's like brilliant. Actors come to me because they're like, I want to be in a pub theater play, and I'm like, well, do your 6 months training with me then, and let's get to work. So
Yeah.
and I've opened it up for other writers now to be like, look, I want other plays. I can write them all, but
Mm,
I would like to do other projects as well and just have
yeah.
this set up as a kind of a machine. But yeah, the audience has been brilliant. We had the mayor in. That was one of my goals, was to get that civic recognition, and we got it. The mayor came. The mayor of Waterford came,
Good on
and
them.
yeah, it was brilliant.
In terms of the people that show up for pub theatre, can you describe your demographic? Because you said earlier on you love making theatre for people that don't go to the theatre. So, but I'm curious the kind of people that will
It's
go. So,
all kinds, man. It's all kinds. The demographic is like, geez, I don't know. We have people there who are like 70 or 80, like from teenagers all the way to 80.
mhm.
That's what we have, yeah.
In terms of like, would they be comfortable? Like, I've heard this said before. Like, so our national theatre is the Abbey Theatre,
Hmm.
and it's something that we as taxpayers contribute to.
Yeah,
But pretty much 90% of the people of the country who pay tax would not feel comfortable in that building.
I agree 100%.
So
It's
the
got a
people,
posh vibe to it,
yeah, yeah, and so the
and
people
theater has
who,
a posh vibe as well.
yeah,
And it's really, it can be snobby or snooty-ish, and it can be. And if anyone in theater is listening to this and saying, no, it's not, it fucking is, all right? It can be.
hmm,
So it can be intimidating to go as well. It's like, what, am I allowed to laugh? Am I allowed to, what's going
yeah,
on? And you got to take it real seriously, and it's all like, it's like relax, and look, there's a place for these big plays as well, and these touring plays, but there is no substitute for just going, I have a play, I want to put it on, and just put it on in the pub. It's like bang. Like, who's to say the Abbey won't fucking take on one of these? I applied to them. I've sent in 5 plays so far. I'm Andy Dufresning it with the Abbey. That's what I'm doing. And
hmm.
they actually, I sent them a play a day for 5 days, and they told me to stop. They said it's one at a time, so you gotta wait for the feedback. And I'm getting, yeah. I'm getting really good feedback off them. But I'm like, I'm gonna keep knocking on that door until you actually say yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
care. And I just keep doing plays in pub theater. These plays, some of them are like, I'm not saying all of them are amazing, although that fuck it, yeah, they are. They're brilliant. They're all brilliant. But there are some that I'm like, damn, that is a fucking good one. And that can be developed into a larger piece. It just
yeah.
there's something really true about it, or something really human about it. And it's like, whoa, that was actually really fucking good,
In terms of pub theatre, what I'm hearing you say, the subtext is that pub theatre is an arena where maybe the plays are being produced that the people want to see. Where kind of a lot of say the main theaters, like not to be knocking them or anything, but they're not producing main work or new work anymore as much as what they used to. But what they do produce is not very good, and it's not what the average person wants to go to see.
Well, to say it's not what the average person wants to go to see is probably fair enough. The thing is, they're very cautious. It's the same in film as well. It's the same in all this stuff. They're all very, very cautious. Like, um, to try and take a risk on something. I mean, look at all the fucking remakes we've seen over the
Yeah,
years,
yeah,
and then the likes of yeah, Look, man, I'm all about fundamentals. There was an ancient Sanskrit text that was found, and it had on it the three things that theater should accomplish. You're talking Sanskrit, the oldest fucking language in the world. Number one thing that theater should accomplish, entertain the drunk. Give me a break. That's it. And there's so much in that. You know how hard it is to entertain a drunk person? They know
Mm.
where the attention goes. You know what I mean? You've got
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be saying something deeply true, deeply honest and vulnerable and like real. And that has to pierce through the drunkenness of the individual watching it
yeah.
to entertain the drunk. The other one is to show how the world works, I think, and the other one is to show how the universe works. I don't know those two, but I can certainly do the first one. You can spend a whole career trying to do the first one. And you know
Mm.
what? It's going to produce good plays that are entertaining, that can entertain a drunk. And entertaining the drunk isn't just like lighting a fart on fire, although that would work. How long would it work for? You know, it's not
Yeah,
cheap.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Entertaining the drunk is deep. So that's like the prerequisite for a pub theater play. It must be something that can entertain the drunk.
So what if
And imagine a drunk person going into the Abbey. Sorry, imagine a drunk person going into the Abbey to see a very high art thing. You know what I mean? They'd be asleep
Yeah,
in like 10 minutes,
yeah, yeah,
maybe seven.
yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, no, I think we agree. I think lots of people, I would say the vast majority of people in Ireland would like to go to the theatre more, but there's nothing there. These certainly these big theatre places that are and art centers, but they're not um showing the kind of stuff that they would like to go and see. So tell us in terms of goals, what's your ultimate goal here? What's the long game for the end game?
Why do people does there have to be? If I was a millionaire, this is what I do, except I travel more.
Mm.
See the world a bit more. This is a life well lived. That's what I found with creativity, and that's all I've ever wanted was to do whatever I love full time. And like it'll work out. And I found that I just love doing this stuff. Like I work with people in rehab too, in recovery spaces, at the Ashley Progression Program.
Hmm.
And I teach them acting and they shoot short films at the end of it, and it's really fantastic work. And I can't show any of that online because of anonymity concerns or whatever, but that's some of my most rewarding work, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, there's no end goal. Yes, I'd love to sell a script for €1 million, do a fucking Taylor Robinson on it or whatever his name is again. He's a billionaire now, I think. That's like he
Yeah.
actually has €1 billion worth of scripts tied up with Paramount. Um, but that's not the goal for me. It's like the goal is the everyday work and getting lost in the work and just meeting all these great people and working with these brilliant people and enjoying the audience and stuff like that and doing it. The end goal would be a full-time venue for an acting school and a theater put together with a little tiny pub on the side. That's a dream. That's
Hmm.
enough to keep me going. But yeah, I'll do this till I'm fucking dead. I don't want to do anything else in my life.
It sounds as if you're truly grateful for being able to have found your passion and now being able to pursue
Yeah.
a life with it.
Yeah, and it's one, yeah, definitely. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's fucking tough. Sometimes there's spaghetti hoops for dinner, like, that's just the way
Yeah.
it goes. But that's there's two pieces of advice I give to actors who want to be acting full time. Is like, okay, if you're okay with being shit poor for the rest of your life, do it. Because that's a guarantee. Anything after that is a bonus. But if you're okay with it, if you're okay with being shit poor, because like I get to do this every day, I get to work on this, I get to work on my craft, my instrument, and you're happy, genuinely do
Mm.
it. If you're going to be worried and nervous about where the rent is going to come from, don't. Um, the other one is if you start off and your passion is huge. I mean, your passion is like massive, and you imagine a big, huge circle, but your ability is the size of a walnut. You need to invest in your ability so much that it matches your passion, and then it's going to be easy. But if you just go in with massive passion but small ability, you're going to burn yourself out very quickly,
Mhm.
and you're going to get very disillusioned. You need to really dive deep into what you're doing, and again, invest in the ability till it matches your passion, and then it's fine.
So that's my interview with Luke. Please see all links relating to Luke and his work down below and check them out. You will not be disappointed. We'll be back in a fortnight with our next guest. Until then, please like and share where and when you can. Until the next time.